Today I'm going to share my bits and pieces that I found that helps me with planning for Christmas. Now, I know a lot of people think that once the previous Christmas is over with, that's done with. But that's when I put things in place for the following Christmas. And I have done this for absolute years, especially when we only had one income coming in and I had a baby and toddler at home. And I had time off work to have my family. I had actually 9 years off work while my kids were growing up. I understand that not all these bits and pieces are going to be helpful to everyone. I just hope maybe something from my video will help you to make this season enjoyable and a little less stressful. So there's a few things I like to mention first of all. From the previous Christmas, I always allow a small tiny budget to cover the cost of buying, well, it used to be Christmas cards, but I've made all my own this year. Wrapping paper, ribbons, anything that's non-perishable, Christmas decorations, Christmas tree ornaments, and anything that can be kept, or a lot of the times Christmas gifts are put on clearance and don't necessarily have to be kept for the Christmas season. I have brought last Christmas quite a few bits and pieces that had no Christmas packaging on, and I used them in the Easter baskets. And just little thought can actually save you money in the long run. And a lot of what I'm about to tell you is what actually works for me, and I have been doing these things for years. Also, do your research. I mean, there's so much out there that can help you. The internet, YouTube, all the different media sites, talking to people, television. And I like to do a lot of things on a budget unless it's something specific that can't be bought reasonable and it's a specific thing. Luckily now my children are adults. I do have a 1-year-old granddaughter and we have bought for her. The rest of the family, adults, we don't buy for, and but I do admittedly do stockings. I have one myself, both my sons, my eldest son's wife, they've just got married a few weeks ago. That's why I'm really late actually posting this video. We did get tied up with not just the wedding, but all sorts of things, as I would have actually uploaded this back in September. It's when I seriously go into the start of Christmas mode. Like I was saying, there is a lot of help out there. I've even got my BFF. She knows who she is. We have had amazing time just recently going around the shops, sometimes doing a bit of Christmas shopping, but we do love looking around all the Christmas decorations and what is actually the trends for this year, which I've noticed in a lot of them. I don't know whether you actually count them as vintage decorations, and I've mentioned this I think a couple of times, is they're really bright coloured decorations. Now, I do have a family tree which anything and everything goes on there, and each year, right from when my boys were born, I have brought them a Christmas decoration, put their initials on and the year. And I have actually started that last year for our granddaughter as well. So going over on different ways of getting organised. There's all the media sites, as I said. There's friends and family. You could just inquire if there's a specific person you need to buy for. I mean, it's up to you whether you actually blurt out and say, well, what can I get you? But a lot of people, I find, feel a bit uncomfortable actually stating what they want because maybe they don't know what your budget is. That's not a problem. You can do it whatever you want, just even a general chit chat, or even ask a family member of that person or a friend. Right, other ways of getting organised. This is something else. I have actually shared this. This is my 5-year Christmas planner. I bought this straight after Christmas last year. And this one is by Rachel Ellen Designs. And this, as I say, is a 5-year. I have actually got a video on this. And through the next weeks leading up to Christmas, I probably would be referring to this book and how I filled it out and one thing or another. There is a few things that I will have to keep private, obviously names, and also certain gifts that I don't want to spoil the surprise. But as I say, most of the gifts we've bought are for our granddaughter, are for the stockings, and we don't buy much for the adults. I prefer to have get-togethers and like to make nice new memories. So this is a diary. It's a Christmas planner. Another thing I use, and I have done this for 10-15 years, maybe longer, is I always keep a notebook. This one is a little bit more advanced now. And basically anything that I buy, whether it's for Christmas, birthday or whatever occasion, it goes in my binder. I will write in what it is, the shop I've got it from, if it's been allocated to someone particular, and the price that I've actually paid on it. You don't have to go through all that. It means that I know exactly what I've got in my stock. And referring back to this, I can actually find out what new stuff I bought after Christmas last year, whether I got all my napkins, my paper plates, anything like that. I put it in the book so I know that Christmas 2018, I don't need to buy those sort of things. And I do have a Christmas stash, besides gift stash, up in our bedroom in one of our top boxes, which I will share with you to a certain point at a later date. Not everything I can share because some of the items, as you can understand, are kid related, and I just, in case they are watching this video, I just don't want them to know what they're getting for Christmas. In this book, I have split it up. I've got Advent. Now, last Christmas, I decided from my BFF that I was doing an Advent calendar, but instead of buying a Christmas gift, which I've done before, I'm actually doing a Christmas decoration in each of the Advent bags. It goes right up actually to 25, Christmas Day. So I have got a new title in here called Advent. So quite a few portion of the decorations I did buy after last Christmas, because again, I planned ahead and I got them a good deal. I do have a section just for Xmas gifts. That is definitely for things that are definitely for that season, or I've bought them and they've got Christmas packaging on. I also have a section for ideas. Now, if someone mentions something, because even I know I've got a wish list, on my family know this, because sometimes they will turn around and say, well, what can I get you for your birthday? So we don't very often buy for Christmas. And I've got a list. The other one is general gifts. This covers birthdays, Easter, Valentine's, anything like that. I don't like to try and buy too many novelty gifts unless it's a novelty gift that is useful, if that makes sense to you. And the last category I've got is DVD stroke Blu-ray stroke games, because you can get some really reasonable DVDs. And after Christmas, I've actually got some Christmas DVDs, really reasonable. And again, I like to put them in stocking stuffers or make like a movie box with popcorn, soft drinks and sweets. So start now if you haven't already. Try and keep all your gifts in one place so you're not thinking, no, you're scratching your head and thinking, where the hell did I put that item or whatever. I do make a effort to put it in my book, put it in the box, in my wardrobe, and I know that it's there. It does sometimes take a little bit longer because this is the first Christmas I've been doing YouTube. I only started in June of this year, so this is all quite new to me with the video in. So again, I'm sorry if I repeat things that I've already said, but I'm trying to do this in one take and get through this video before I leave it any longer, because I have put it off, I must admit. So keep a record of your gifts. It's not just for Christmas, it's for the whole year. And then you'll be ready for after this Christmas. Another thing I always do, again, we don't buy a lot of Christmas presents, is I do go round and collect all the magazines. As I say, we've got Asda here. I've got a couple of Tesco's one, and this being the new one they've brought out. And because of our granddaughter, Smith's, because obviously we haven't got Toys R Us now. This is sometimes a godsend. Sometimes it has coupons in that can be useful. And they do have recipes, but sometimes they have articles by other shoppers giving you tips as well. That is another good thing. You can sit down, go through them, go online. What I like to do is when there is something particular I must get or has been a request, I do shop around, go online, look in the books, so you're not going backwards and forwards and wasting time. Now, I did have a notification from Amazon, and I've gone on to Amazon Prime for the free 1 month, and it's been a godsend the last couple of weeks. I have bought a lot of things. One of them, which maybe actually not been shown yet, is I had a book which my son's buying me for Christmas. I ordered it 8 o'clock that morning and it came by 9:20 that evening. If not, it will come the next day. I think it all depends on what the item is, whether you get it the same day and when you actually order it. But I couldn't believe that, same day. You can't say that much about many companies. There is quite a few other companies I've used. I've also used Studio Cards recently. I haven't used them before, and I have bought a few things, especially for our granddaughter, because it's been free personalisation. And again, that may be coming up in a video soon. Another thing is to take into consideration using your phone. I always carry a little notebook around with me and a pen in my bag, and calendars. Keep up to date with anything that needs to be done or needs to be visiting, whether it's relations, friends, and try and get things booked in as early as possible. This is the time of year now. We've normally actually started a lot of our visiting, but again, going back to the wedding, did see some family members. There has been quite a lot of illness, and a close relative has been in and out of hospital. So we're going to have to make, you know, arrangements to go and see them because that person is not driving at the moment. So we like to get that all booked in, because I'm a person that will not necessarily panic, but I do suffer from anxiety, as I said before. I do have occasional panic attacks, but the more planned I am, the less stressed I am, the more happy I can be, and I'm not rushing like a headless chicken all through the season and not enjoying bits and pieces. I have got crafting sessions even booked in for myself. I do a lot when I'm sitting with the family watching TV in the evening. I'm quite happy to sit there, watch TV and do a bit of crafting. That is one reason why I don't always show all my DIYs actually on film, but a lot of them I think are quite easy to pick up, and if there is a problem I'm sure people would let me know. So going ahead now, I tend to wrap presents up fairly early. Again, it's not necessarily adults at the moment, but I do have to plan it in visiting family across the country. And you have to take into consideration another if is illness, weather, any circumstances. We've had also work commitments. I'm okay, I'm not working at the moment, so I've pretty much taken everything on board. But bless my darling husband and also my son, who lives still at home with us, have been great chauffeurs and very, very understanding. You will be seeing a number of shopping videos, and I have explained, and I think I said in the comments, they are going up thick and fast because I do a lot of going around the shops early on, because although I don't mind the hustle and bustle to a certain extent, as long as I've got everything that I do need, I like to get round these shops before it does get too busy, and then the queues get longer, people can get rattled, and people are not as nice, I don't think, the push and shove. So there's a lot of things like that. If you are able to, I know there is circumstances, I know people have young children and they have specific things they want from Santa, and although the main present comes from Santa, you still have to help Santa out with some bits and pieces. So when I visit, especially my husband's family who live around Lincolnshire, I do like to take little trinkets, little gifts with me, usually bits and pieces I've made, as you've probably seen just recently, like the flannel reindeer. I like to make little spa gift bags and boxes, all that sort of thing. I try and put it for that particular person. I've done little mini movie buckets. I know they say we're not buying Christmas presents, but a lot of these items are less than £5, if that. So, and sometimes like those reindeer flannels are so reasonable, and I did them for all the neighbours and they loved them. I said, it's not that I'm trying to be nasty or anything, it's a soap and a flannel, and sometimes I've included a bubble bath, but it's something useful, and I say, please have a relaxing bath or shower or pampered session and just be stress-free. Just be calm. That is something else that I do put into my schedules quite a lot. I do have a bath every night. It does relax me. I do take a lot of medication as well. But I do have longer bath times where you might have a face pack, you may put a bath bomb. I do have some lovely bath bombs that I've got from Lush. I don't particularly buy them, but family members know that I like certain products, and I have them as gifts. Mother's Day, I have them for my birthday, and they're my little treat bits. I am diabetic, so I don't eat a lot of chocolate and sweets. That's not to say I don't have the little bits, but that pampered session and things like doing my nails, everybody knows I like doing my nails, so I do tend to get a lot of nail polishes as well. That is me. As far as I'm concerned, it's the thought that counts, not the expense. Again, I know there's a lot of one-parent families out there, people on tight budgets, except for being the single parent. I have in the past, I had a baby and a toddler, and my husband used to work away quite a lot, and sometimes it used to be 2 weeks at a time. So it wasn't permanently one parent, I must admit, but I can understand, and I know it can be stressful. But as I keep saying, if you just put in a little bit of thought and a bit of planning and spread the cost or anything that needs to be done over a certain period of time, then you're not rushing around at the last moment. Also, it might mean that you might need to set a budget. Now, in the past, when I said about my book and what I've bought to people for Christmas, years and years and years, I used to total it up. I probably still do to a certain extent, but as I say, the expense is not there as it used to be. And I used to be able to tell hubby exactly what we spent that year. And the first few years, especially when I went back to work, when both of my children were at school, I stayed at home, so I was here during the day for my children. That's when hubby actually changed his job and was working back in where we live now. And he used to be home in the evenings while I used to go out to work, and I used to work weekends, and that was as a carer on shift work. It was quite hard going for a good many years, and it was like passing the ships, because he would come home, I'd go out, vice versa. And it was a learning curve for both of us, especially when it come to weekend chores with hubby and 2 young children. The stories I could tell about that, like putting the washing machine on. Yeah, washing machine. Kids used to sit in front of the washing machine, thought it was hilarious, and then once the washing machine was finished, he would then go off and do the next thing on the list. He's lad, and in fact, he is not about equivalent, if not better, at certain things during the house than I am. That is another valid point about coming on. See if you can delegate, find out where members of your family or friends or whoever can help you, and vice versa. It might be as simple as someone might help you out babysitting, and you might do the same for them, or they may help you in another way. I found that really helpful, I must admit, in the past. The way we did it originally is so we didn't have to pay out for childminding, and that did go a long way to budgeting for other things, and at least having one family holiday a year where the 4 of us could just go away for at least a week. I'm not saying everything's been easy, it hasn't, and we have had 3 redundancies in the family. My husband was made redundant twice, me once, and one of the times my husband was redundant was less than a week before Christmas, and that was heart-wrenching for him. He had to come home and tell me that basically he was out of work. I will stipulate that was actually the firm went into liquidation, which I understand. I'm not going to go into too many details. I know it's different to redundant. So in other words, they were locking the factory up, and that was it. And it was heart-wrenching because he got paid monthly. He also had been working away for weeks on end, and he'd done a lot of overtime. So because it wasn't a redundancy and it wasn't planned, everything was just stopped. It was just, everything was frozen, and a lot of his workmates were shocked. It was unexpected, and the problem is with a lot of them, and maybe you yourselves, you are living from paycheck to paycheck, and they're waiting for that last paycheck to get their Christmas food and the gifts to help Santa out for their children. That particular Christmas, hubby sat down with me. I knew something was wrong once the boys were in bed. They were fairly young at the time, and he had to tell me the news. Now, I am a born warrior, but I just sat there and smiled at him, and I said, just come with me. I showed him the freezer, stocked, turkey, tick. Cupboards, non-perishable stuff, full, tick. Christmas gifts, all done, all wrapped, stockings done, not a problem. Nothing except for one little thing, one little hiccup. I don't know about anybody else, but mums especially, maybe even single fathers, always put everybody first and themselves last. And this makes me a bit emotional because my husband was so upset. I think I'm going to cry now. He was so upset because on that particular morning, Christmas morning, everybody was opening their Christmas presents. The kids got everything they wanted. Hubby had got everything he wanted. And the kids would turn around and say, Mummy, Mummy, what did you get for Christmas? Where's your Christmas stocking? I said, yeah, okay, I'm sorting dinner out. Don't worry about it, not a problem. And then hubby did actually cotton on what the problem was, because I'd left myself to last, and I would make sure everything else was ticked off, bought, wrapped, everybody had got what they wanted. Then I would very often have a budget and I would go shopping for myself, because the problem was hubby was always working away at the time, so he found it very difficult. And let's face it, if he's been away days, weeks at a time, the last thing he really wanted to do was come home and start shopping. My main aim was for him to spend time as a family and with our boys. Even if he fell asleep with them, read them a story, it was evening time, or when he come back from work after being away, it was his time to sit there and spend time with the family. So I used to go out and get, I know it sounds awful, my own gifts, and it never bothered me. And admittedly, my birthday's in January. He was back in work quite quickly. We were very lucky, and he absolutely spoilt me. I basically had Christmas and birthday all in one in January. I am the sort of person who loves giving. I love giving gifts. I love making things for people, and the appreciation and the thanks on their faces is enough for me. Now, I'm sorry if I gobbled on, but I just had to explain that. I have an amazing family and very supportive. And it's just a lot of planning can go a long way to making it less stressful. And even if you're finding it hard now, maybe you can put some of these bits and pieces in place now. I must admit, I have my turkey. I've got all the condiments I need. Anything that's non-perishable, I've been getting each week since September. Anything that can be stored, that's got a long date, I've bought. And it was only just last weekend we actually bought the turkey. And we do always expend, we always get a larger turkey, because once it's cooked, we like it cold with jacket potatoes. We like turkey and stuffing and cranberry sauce sandwiches, you know, and I do a turkey curry. This all stemmed from the years, 15 years as being a carer and working at Christmas. And I have to say a great thanks to my husband, because he cooks the Christmas dinner and it's continued even though I'm not working. So I hope this has all helped, and if by any chance you have got any advice for myself, or things, even if things that you've put in place that have worked for you, please do share. And I know it's quite early, but I'm hoping that everybody is going to have a happy and magical season. Thanks for bearing with me. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.